New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev Briz and Rev Elzia and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And good morning, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
And this is Ministers Talking Shit for March 7th. Oh my God. I keep joking, Z, that it's really hard to do ministry in a philosophy that does not believe in time. And yeah, all right, March 7th. Here we go, folks. It's a Friday morning. We're grateful that you're with us. Grateful to be here with you, and have an opportunity to, as the promo says, talk about anything we want to talk about. So, Z, welcome aboard. How's life on your side of town this morning?
Oh man, everything is everything, as they used to say. It's a flurry of things happening, and at the root of it all, life still moves on, and we the guardians of the gate, we need to stay vigilant and ask ourselves, are you in it to win it or what?
Yeah. Yep. I hear that. Absolutely. Are you in it to win it? Because the fatigue.
We're at you're in it to win it.
The fatigue is really starting to set in, and just the fatigue of trying to keep up with what isn't going on, what is real, what isn't real, what is true, what isn't true, and even from those that I would like to believe. I see a meme that goes around touting the numbers of how much the Park Service makes and how much the Park Service costs, but I don't even know if those numbers are real anymore. And I'm kind of tired of having to go try to do research on every damn thing that I see to have an idea of what's real and what's not real out there.
Yeah, well,
maybe we should just embrace the lie.
That's, I think, part of the plan is to create so much confusion and have so many diversionary tactics going at the same time that you can't focus on the main thing. The main thing has to be the main thing. And that is a little challenging, I think, because the main thing is everything, in that if you're looking at it as we do as metaphysicians, as a whole, as a oneness, and it becomes hard when he's trying to dissect every piece and part of the whole as if everything is messed up, and everything can't be messed up, because if it was, it wouldn't exist.
Right. That is the fun part, right? That is the fun, and that is the challenge, is we get to see this from that holistic perspective and that systems perspective.
Yep.
And yeah, keeping the main thing the main thing. And to me right now, the main thing is we're falling under authoritarian rule.
Yep.
And whether that's attacking trans people, whether that's attacking Medicaid, whether that's attacking USAID, whether that's attacking tearing apart the education of the Department of Education, whether the main thing is we're living under an authoritarian rule that so far it would not appear many people other than, let's say, Jasmine Crockett and AOC have been willing to stand up to. Bernie, Bernie's still out there speaking it up, but it doesn't escape me. Yep, but Bernie's on his way out, exactly. And it doesn't escape me that the voices that I can hear the loudest are women of color.
Don't make me make statements. Well, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I will go hold back, but I ain't holding back.
I guess
women of color, too late. Women of color have held this country together for a very, very, very long time. Because if we go all the way back to slavery, let's just go there for a minute. I know Black History Month is over. But if we go there for a minute, it was the Black woman who took care of the households. It was the Black woman who nourished these households of the slave owners.
Yeah.
Although they looked at them and despised them, so to speak, at least publicly, they made it with them. They trusted their kids to them. They trusted their kitchens to them. Basically, they trusted their whole household to them. And at the same time, the Black woman, and specifically, was holding the Black family together as well. So they have been a rock in the establishment of this community and the supporting of this country for a very long time, and they're still holding it down.
Thank God. I want to be Jasmine Crockett when I grow up. I just want to say that. Right? That woman is fearless in the face of the white supremacy.
Yeah.
I don't like the way that sounded. She is fearless in the face of white supremacists.
Yeah.
Saying it the other way sounds like the whites are winning, and I don't want that. So I don't want any of. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the one of the challenges, and there are many, but one of the challenges I see it is that following her, Crockett's example of, you gotta be prepared, right? That means you gotta do your homework. You gotta test your whatevers, so that it falls right in line with my one of my top 5 statements is, it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
Right.
And she was sitting there doing her job until Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, was the impetus that kicked off that torrent that she had waiting in her toolbox. And since then, she's just been like, look, my stuff is good. I'm playing my cards here right now. And she's doing a great job, I think, for Texas, where she's based out of, and just for the country in terms of keeping issues that, if not for her and a couple of others, would be swept under the rug.
Yeah. I'm just doing a quick chat GPT, and I put in Representative Crockett and not her first name, and it kicked back Davy Crockett.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's a whole nother story.
There might be an analogy in there for.
Yeah, and David, he's buried right here in Colorado, I think David Crockett is. But you know, the one thing that's on the forefront now, and he's been causing subterfuge with it, is this whole shutting down of the Department of Education. With Linda McMahon, the ex-wife of Ed McMahon, the WWE CEO. I don't know if he's still the CEO. I know there was some trouble or something going on over there. But this idea of shutting down the Department of Education, which the two main things that I understand that they do, like 60% of what they do is dealing with loans and grants and stuff like that,
right,
for various things within education. But the part that scares me and worries me the most, it's money. You can privatize that. That's not a good thing to say, but you could. Might even do a better job. I don't know. But the idea that they're going to take money away from primary and secondary education that was primarily set up, or that is primarily set up to support disadvantaged communities, Black, white, Native, doesn't matter. That money is for people from disadvantaged backgrounds so that they could have a decent chance at being educated, is now in jeopardy.
Well, yeah. And, it seems pretty obvious to me. Trump and his oligarchs are taking direct aim at the most vulnerable in our society. Taking aim at the Department of Education is a big lump of money that I can only imagine what their perspective is, but let them eat cake, screw it, let the states take care of it. We'll import people with an education. We need a new generation of white slaves to work the fields. I don't know what their perspective really is, and I have yet to find one that in any way makes any sense to me, economically or socially, for what we're doing, what this administration is doing to the most vulnerable and the historically most oppressed people in our country. It's unfortunate. This is going to sound strange, but illegal immigration is down. The number of people attempting to cross our southern border is down. So, to that degree, the fear is working. And I've said it here before, right? I'm not just about completely allowing everybody, like there has to be a way we can work towards a greater vision that allows for people to not be judged because they're searching a better life. Regardless of how you look at it, we have always been a country where the American dream was available to everybody. I'm not sure when all this changes. I can trace back when it became less accessible, when it became a lot harder for people to accomplish the American dream. But when did we stop being the melting pot for the American dream? When did we stop giving each other a hand up, and if necessary, a hand out?
Well, from my perspective as an amateur genealogist, looking at passage from other countries into this country and looking at part of my own heritage in various ways come into this country from different parts of the globe, from
Right.
Europe and Africa, and being able to track that with documents. It's very interesting how you have two groups of people who came to this country in on different ships, if you will, to become to this melting pot that they rigged, if you will, for themselves, and they allowed in those who they wanted. Now, let's not forget that some of the individuals who came here on certain ships from certain parts of the country, they were looked down upon as well when they came here, but they weren't slaves. They had an opportunity. They were despised and they were given, hard times and stuff. But it was different. And and that just brings me to this idea, still looking at this education thing, they've the so-called critical race theory. I mean, if that means you're going to strike out history and use a fancy name for it, not to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, then so help you God, by the way, then that's a problem, right? Because they're trying, it appears that they're trying to erase that part of history or minimize it, as if, we gave people job training and living standards that whatever. I'm like, are you serious? And so now you build the whole premise of the country, the educational system, and the outcome of that on an outright lie, and it destroys it, and it's pervasive. It goes across all the system: healthcare, treasury, social service. You look at what they did to USAID, which supports disadvantaged situations across the globe. We got to stop. If we're going to claim ourselves to be the leaders of the free world, then there's certain things that come with that. And if we're going to strike those from the record, then our name as the top dog may get scratched out as well.
Yeah. You're said to be in some wild ways, because it's almost as if we are about to become the conspiracy theorists. And the conspiracy is, there was a time when America helped its neighbors in the world. There was a time when Canada was our friend. There was a time when we were not, I don't know, what do you want to call us, Western Russia? All right. There was a time, and it's almost an act of rebellion to try to preserve the truth again, or live in the lie. So maybe maybe the Matrix isn't about aliens taking over or AI taking over the planet. Maybe the Matrix is really just about white supremacists taking over.
Yeah, there's some interesting theories been coming out about the Matrix, about that the Matrix is about. I mean, the ultimate thing that the Matrix is pointing to is the far left and the far right, right? And I mean, metaphysically, you can make, if you're choosing opposites, I can put anything on the left and the right. But the ultimate goal, or the ultimate reality, if you will, is the oneness of it all, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is what you and I talked about this week, I think, a little bit, in that when you say oneness, that means oneness. That means everything is connected. And the moment I begin to point out a other than that oneness, I have already departed from the idea and begin to create confusion.
Yes. Which, puts those on the left, puts those in the progressive, puts those in the spiritual camp, if you will, we all have to recognize our culpability, our responsibility, our collaboration in what's going on. Because we, in many ways, and right, it's a test for all of us, because I still see the other.
I mean, and you know, we have the ancient aphorism, as above, so below, as below, so above, right? It's showing the patterns of the universe. And so, as always, I will stick to the human body, the human entity, as a oneness. And the moment we start putting one system in the wholeness of the body against another system of the wholeness of the body, we get that dreaded word coming out called dis-ease. And it begins to tear itself apart. But as long as they are working independently as a one, recognizing their unique talent, but also understanding that it is a part of a whole, so it has to yield and advance back and forth at certain intervals based on the operation of the wholeness or the oneness, it all works. But the moment that understanding gets lost, there's a problem. And that's what I think we're facing right now with our government, with this country, actually, quite frankly, with the globe, is that, you know, just real quick, you think about part of the president of Ukraine, Zelensky rather, you know, the big money grab on that whole thing was they want those rare earth minerals, right? That's the real deal, right? And it ain't about stopping killing on either side, in my opinion. It's about those rare earth, because those are things that they're looking to continue with chip development and space exploration and AI development and all these things. So it's a money grab. It has nothing to do, in my mind, with the people. Right. And if we can't see that, I'm speechless, and that's hard to do, to make me speechless.
We've been trying for years. Yeah. Well, and I'm with you, because it kind of flashed on me. If we look at this as a big game of Risk, if you haven't ever played the game of Risk, folks, you know, be prepared. But if you haven't ever played the game of Risk really was all about partnering with your buddies to divvy up the world and get rid of the little guys. And then the big boys would play late into the night. But ultimately, it was almost always a rigged game in one way or another. And right now, if you look at it, Trump's making a pretty classic play. He's trying to buy up. He's trying to take over Panama. He wants Panama and Greenland. And Greenland, we know, is about rare earth minerals. The speculation on rare earth minerals in the North Arctic, all around the globe, and the farther north you go, the easier it is to get from Russia to the U.S. Distance-wise. It's not the type of travel it used to be, and we're gonna go rip up the hell out of I saw it the other night. It's from Greenland to Panama. We don't need a strong border with Russia if we're in partnership with Russia. So Alaska's fine. Let it sit there. And we're developing new northern trade routes for these minerals and trying to take over the world, and leaving Europe completely undefended, and completely pulling out of Europe and saying, good luck, Europe. You're friggin' on your own. Good luck. Take care. Bye. See ya. It's
go ahead. No, I'm just gonna say it's interesting, as you said, just to hit the point, that people don't see that.
Right. Or if they do, they think that's the way. They think that's the way forward. Something has led them to believe that we need to win at all costs. We need world domination.
Yeah, and that's a game. Isn't there a game called World Domination? And see, and I think that's the problem now. We think we think life is a game. I mean, I know we use that metaphor a lot, and I use it myself sometime, and I'm going to find another one because I don't like it no more. Because the premise of any game is somebody wins and somebody loses.
Right.
So whether that's playing marbles or jackstones or playing global domination, it is the exact same. Somebody wins and somebody loses. So I think we need to change that metaphor a little, drop that metaphor and move. I think one idea I'm playing with is this idea of a drama, which is always out there, a drama that's going on. But I think a better one is looking at the whole thing as an agrarian, growing a garden. I mean, let's just go to our founder Ernest Holmes. The deal is let's grow a plant or a garden or a nation that understands seed, soil, plant, and understanding that there are ideas and consciousness and their manifestations of those all the way down to a physical expression that work hand in hand. That's why when you start a real garden or you become a real farmer, you start testing the pH balance of the soil to grow certain things, and you start looking at how much water they need. So you set up irrigation system. Again, it begins to create this oneness where it all has to work, and you do crop rotations. I mean, the science and the wisdom is everywhere around us in nature, but we have somehow, we think we can circumvent that.
The tagline for the game Risk is the game of world domination.
Yeah.
Right. That's its tagline. It's Risk. It is the game of world domination. And it's unfortunate, but if you ask me, if I look at the two major players at the table at the moment, my money ain't on Trump to win this. Right? There's a much more experienced player with armies on the table, and it pains me because we're taking this analogy to a point where I don't want to entertain the idea of a third world war, and yet it seems rather naive to just deny that growing potentiality, that growing possibility.
Yeah. And I mean, sticking with that motif of our founder seed, soil, plant, I just heard some disturbing news in this country that 22% of the butterflies have disappeared, all kind. And for anyone who understands the nature of oneness, they understand that the butterflies are called pollinators, and that without the butterflies, certain plants won't get pollinated in nature. Now, you can go in a lab and do it, but you got to start, jigging plants around. And I mean, it gets just an intensive job that a butterfly can just float from place to place. Now, the question is, what is causing that? Now, put that juxtaposed to some company has found some woolly mammoth genes, and they have injected those woolly mammoth genes into a rat, and now they have a woolly rat. I guess I don't know what they call it, but when we start doing that, we have no idea of what we're doing. We have no idea.
True. Yeah. There's an old phrase that came back to me recently, and that is that God does not play dice. And I don't know of a single philosophy and religion or spiritual tradition on this planet that doesn't in its own way extol us to be more like God.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that definition is, whatever that perception is, whatever that view is, whatever we call it, whatever icon we assign to it, whatever face we put on the idol, every wisdom tradition calls us to be more like God.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the way of discernment. Is what I'm doing, is what I'm supporting, is what I'm talking about and what I'm believing and what I'm calling for more like God or not?
Right.
Parading a young cancer victim who, from my perspective, had no real concept of what the hell was going on out in front of people, while you're also cutting all of the funding that has kept that young man alive, does not, to me, strike as working towards a demonstration of God. Even Donald Trump's God, even the greedy God.
I mean, that wakes up so many things in me that's in the news lately, and I'll just start with two of them because I know we're running as always. But I mean, you think about right now, the measles outbreak, juxtaposed to the theory, if you will, as some people say, of vaccinations, right? The measles there's like almost 160, 170 cases in Texas. It has now jumped the border and it is now in New Mexico. There's also some cases in Florida, which I would imagine there may be some migrant workers going from Texas to Florida that may be carrying it. Not sure. It takes 2 weeks for this thing to manifest itself. So you can be infected and traveling and spreading for 2 weeks before you have any indication that you have the disease. Full stop. Think about that. Then the other thing is this. There's a new report out. One of the things that Einstein postulated was gravitational memory, i.e., that there's this field that retains memory or consciousness or whatever. And so now they're exploring that. They found some evidence that he might be correct on that. And they're looking at it in terms of how the waves of black holes and other anomalies in the field may retain some memory, right? Which is what the ancient ones have been saying all the while, that there's this ether, that there's this matrix, that there's this field that all knowledge is contained in. And if we do certain practices, if we live a certain way, if we respect certain things, that information is available. And as you said, what I'm leading to, we can begin to operate from a place of being God's representatives on earth, because we can tap into that wisdom and knowledge and balance and harmony, not world domination. And I'll hold right there.
Well, hey, if I just heard you correct, and I must have missed this somewhere, but you're saying there is now proof for Einstein's unified field theory.
They're working on it.
They're working on it. Okay, good.
Yeah, they just came up to say that his idea of gravitational memory is appearing that it could be true. And unified field theory is just the oneness of all things. I mean, we see that every day.
Right.
Just look in the mirror and we'll see it.
And that's what I was latching on to. And another piece of the puzzle that proves we're living in a world of oneness. Another piece of the puzzle that proves it like the old saying, when a butterfly flaps its wings in Taiwan or Japan or whatever, right? It causes a hurry. And glad to know that's metaphor. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of hurricanes.
Well, I don't know. We done knocked out 22% of the butterflies.
And I was gonna say, but we just knocked out 22% of the butterflies. So, like, I guess Japan's going to see better weather than we are. I'm not sure, because we're killing the butterflies. Like, there is so much if we open our eyes. If we, yeah, I'm going there, folks. If we just wake up, if people would just wake up to this greater truth, and people over profits. Don't worry about how much money's in your 401k and how much. Yeah, it's nice. Do those things and live in a way that you feel absolute trust, that you feel absolute assurance that no matter how long you live, you're going to be taken care of. You can run out of money or not. You're going to be taken care of. Something, somehow, some way, life, if we make it, is prime. Maybe that's a t-shirt we need to make. You say it all the time. I'm wondering how many people actually remember that life is the prime directive.
Yep. And I often think, people say life and death. I say birth and death is what life is composed of. And that within that idea of life, there is an evolutionary process that necessitates, if you will, the life and death cycle. Of this evolutionary process, we talk about it all the time, spiritual dynamics and all those different things. Again, we go back to the ancient wisdom, as above, so below, as below, so above. We can look at these macro and micro things and understand the evolution of them. And that's what's been happening since we've been recording this information. We've went from walking to someplace to flying to someplace, right? We've went to trying to grow 1 or 2 crops to growing massive amounts of crop in water, in all kinds of environment, by understanding the oneness of it and by putting it together. And so we have that same kind of thing that we need to begin to look at when we look at political system, ideological systems, support systems, educational systems, that they all fit together. And if we continue to look, there's the saying, look at a thing the way it is and it will remain, but look at it for what it could be and it becomes what it should be. And that's what we have to begin to, if I keep looking, if I got a hammer, everything look like a nail.
Yeah. Well, there we have it, folks, right? We get to it sooner or later. And again, that's what I love about this program. That's what I love about our network. That's what I love about our friendship, Z. That's what I love about this philosophy. And just where we started the morning, if you got to be in it to win it. If you stick in, if you got to stay in it, though, and you got to stay with it. And if you stay in the conversation and if you stay in the exploration, everything can come back. We can find our way back to the oneness, back to the principles of the science of mind. And we have got to be the stewards of a future vision at this point. We cannot, I understand, folks, it can be frustrating and it can be tiring and it can be confounding sometimes. And yet we have to stay in the experience, in the discussion, in the conversation of how we demonstrate oneness.
Yeah. I mean,
it's out there.
When I began this, I think I've always been on a spiritual journey since some tragic events happened in my life, very, very young. But one thing that brought it together for me and really set me on a different trajectory was the book, The Celestine Prophecy.
Yeah.
That's back, and that book came out back in mid-'80s. Long time ago. I would encourage everybody to go get that book and read it again. I'm gonna get it and read it again myself. But I'm steeped. And there's this idea that one of the things as we progress through history real quick, we lost concept of the oneness, and we lost concept of the understanding how things work together in that oneness. So they sent out emissaries to go figure it out. They sent scientists and sociologists and psychologists and all these different people to go out and find the truth after they felt they had been let down by the church and the establishments at the time. And so when now that information is coming back in leaps and bounds, but now we've gotten stuck in this idea of security, which we've placed on power and money and all these things to be secure, when the information we've been requesting is coming back from the scientists of various natures, and we are ignoring it. We're stuck on money. We're stuck on power. We're stuck on material. Those things are needed, no doubt. They're part of the whole. But when they begin to outweigh everything else, we're in a problem. And right now, I don't think there's very few people who won't say we're in a problem. Even those that in control, they may say it quietly, but I'm sure some of them are saying it.
I'm sure some of them are saying it. Exactly. So, all right, folks, we've done just about run out of time here for our time together for a Friday morning. We want to thank you for being a part of what we're doing here on the New Thought Media Network. Remember, we do have a full day of broadcasting ahead of us. All of our normal programs, Get Rich 101, morning prayers, the morning sip with Rev Melissa, Spanish language programming, Spanish language prayers, all that starts in just a couple of moments. Later this morning, our premier programming, the High Vibe Hour with Rev Skip and Reverend Cynthia Breeze. Just One You with Reverend Barbara Jean, back from her health experience, and we're so grateful Reverend Barbara's back and feeling good, and all is well. You'll see a lot more of her coming up. As a matter of fact, she'll be on the Good News tonight, so you can check that out at 5 o'clock. Again with Barbara Jean. I get a week off of the Good News every once in a while, and Barbara Jean picks it up. So thank you for that. Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael, Reverend Michael, at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Be sure to join us for all of our normal programming. So, Z, anything super fun this weekend, or just hiding from the snow?
Well, it's supposed to snow this morning. I ain't seen it yet, but I'm trying to get myself mentally and physically prepared for this time change on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
The good thing, I won't say the only thing, but one of the good things I know about the time change, and that is I can get ready to start planting. And I got some great ideas for planting as I know the planting season is coming forth. And so I'm starting to plan. So that makes me excited.
Beautiful. Yes. It's Friday. I keep forgetting. So don't be late to church on Sunday, folks. You're going to get your warnings. And feel free to correct anybody on social media that's posting a picture of Cher this weekend. Not about turning back time this weekend. Not turning it forward. All right, back to our theory of it's tough to live in a philosophy where there is no time and space. But we're doing it. We're doing it with you. We're grateful you're with us, folks. We're going to get out of here. Until next time, we want to wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.